Hello and welcome to the Nope There's Only Trash Here podcast, episode 8. The date today is the 29th of April 2013, and joining me, very special occasion because it is the first Canadian on the podcast, and this is definitely a very racially accepting podcast. I'm trying to get everyone, so we've already had someone from the UK, USA and Canada, so that's like 60% of the country's already covered. And he's a Let's Player that you should know. So who are you, mysterious guest?
Moo! It's Cowscrazy.
It's a classic intro.
You know it.
One day I hope to have an intro like that. I just have to be like, hi, I get it's me, you know, that guy, but you
You're
get it
that
down.
guy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good to have you on the podcast, Cows, because also
Good to be here.
I gotta congratulate you. Because you just hit 1,000 subscribers, so... Yeah. What's your secret, Cows? What is your secret to your success?
My secret is to put out a lot of crappy content every day, and
Just see what sticks.
basically just keep going, and that's about it.
See, my secret is blood diamonds and... get child slavery. So it's two different kind of ideas to success, but equally valid. Yeah, it's not even 2 minutes in, and that's where we're at.
That's a damn good idea.
It's not bad, is it? Because they
That's
can't. What are they going to do? Cry? Who cares?
What are they gonna do? Cry? That's right.
It's a very mean-spirited start. But before we start, I want to say something. I want to tell you something, Cows, because once again. Your favourite Let's Player, Chugga Conroy, you're a big fan. He's
No.
number one super fan.
No.
No? Oh, well, everything I know is a lie. I thought, I didn't realise.
It's a lie.
Yeah. But for the second time, I've been Let's Playing a game, and he starts Let's Playing it. Now, I don't want to say he's copying me, but that is exactly what I'm going to say.
No. Chugga Conroy doesn't copy people. Okay,
Oh.
You're copying Chugga Conroy.
But I've been doing it first.
No.
Oh,
No,
no?
you're copying Chugga Conroy. Those are the almighty rules of the internet. Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay, when
I didn't
all the little
realize.
children come by and they watch Chugga Conroy, and they're like, "Oh, wow, Chugga Conroy, he's so funny," and then they just happen to see what else is related to this, and they might, in a slim chance, come across your channel and see that you're LPing the same game. They're gonna go, "You suck, you're copying Chugga Conroy." But I started, "No, you're copying Chugga Conroy." But I started, "No, actually, I did this LP a year ago." "No, you're copying Chugga Conroy."
Well, they don't have time to read dates or look into it at all. They gotta get their opinions out there while it's fresh and hot and uninformed. They gotta let you know that what you're doing is wrong.
Yes, you must. I must look into the future. You must know every game Chugga Conroy might ever do and not do them, otherwise you're copying.
Well, I guess I gotta throw my Nintendo Wii, my, N64 GameCube, just throw that out the window, because I probably won't be needing them.
I am just thankful that Chugga Conroy is basically a coward to do any game.
Oh,
Yeah, oh yes, I said coward.
that's how it is, I guess.
Yep. He is a coward to do any game that does not come from a Nintendo console. Because if he had any balls, that's a challenge there, which he'll probably never hear. But I
Oh.
challenge Chugga Conroy to do
To a
it.
ball comparing contest.
Yes.
See who has the bigger ones.
Yes, I do. I would like to challenge him to do a non-Nintendo game. I challenge.
Like, I don't know, Gears of War, maybe? Something like that?
Well, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be violent either. It could be something more tame, more child friendly. Just not on a Nintendo console.
Wow, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but...
I don't think it will ever happen. Not
No.
just anytime soon. Just I don't think it will ever happen.
Well, it pretty much means this whole Chugga Conroy thing. It means that I'm Let's Playing Super Mario 64 DS, and now he's doing it, I'm going to get 0 views. There goes all the potential new people. They're all gone.
Well, it's kind of funny though, because it's kind of worked in reverse for me because I've already LP'd Link's Awakening before,
Oh,
and now that he's doing it, I've been getting views on mine lately, except for they're included with comments of, "Oh, Chugga Conroy's doing this."
oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're Let's Players. We know what the big Let's Players are kind of doing, so I don't get why people would be like we don't know. We're aware of it. We're in that field. That's what we're doing.
Pretty aware. Yeah.
I don't watch Sugar Coin's videos, but I keep up to date to what he's up to, so I can be annoyed about it, I guess.
That's why I follow him on Twitter. Yeah, so I know what insane things he's up to.
He's a crazy guy. He's definitely a crazy cat.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, let's get into the podcast itself. Let's stop moaning about Sugar Conroy. It's not all about him. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Probably we'll cut out a lot of it because most of it's boring. I'm gonna throw that out there straight away. It's been a pretty slow news week, so for gaming news, they're kind of not that impressive because the biggest story of the week. This is embarrassing.
Do we have like a gaming news musical intro here?
We don't have sweepers, I'm afraid. I haven't quite figured that out.
No,
I mean, you can come up with one. I mean, if you want.
Gaming news.
Nice, I like that. I thought you were just going to say "moo." It's gaming news because that's if you didn't
I was
put
trying
any
to
thought
come
in
up
it.
with something that you could use all the time.
Nice. I might have to edit that in.
Yeah, there we go.
But anyway, the gaming news topic of the week is that Nintendo won't be at E3. Well,
No!
I know, right?
No, this is horrible news. My life is over.
It's done. Life. It's
over.
just done.
I have no reason to live.
You better start smashing that Wii U with a hammer because
Bash it. They're not
gone.
coming. Life is over.
Well, pretty much what the story is for anyone who doesn't know, because I mean it's a pretty boring bit of news. It's that Nintendo, each year you have the Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo press conferences at E3. But this year, because Nintendo, I'm assuming the main reason is because they're not revealing a big console, the Wii U's out there. So they're only really talking about games. Won't be doing a press conference this year. It doesn't mean they won't be at E3. It doesn't mean they were lying when they were saying about showing new Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. And Mario 3D footage. It just means you won't be able to sit there and, watch it on Ustream, their conference. So
here's basically what I think. They don't have any console to talk about. They don't have any handheld to talk about. They got a 3DS going. They will not have any. This means do not expect a Wii U Zelda game to be coming out within the next 365 days because
don't forget Wind Waker HD. I know you'll be all over that.
Don't. Let's not.
Should I just not bring Wind Waker up ever? Should I just?
Let's just not talk about that, okay?
I apologize.
Just do not get me started on a remake of the worst Zelda game.
Oh man, the worst.
The worst Zelda game ever made.
See, Cows, I know how to push your buttons when it comes to this kind of stuff. I've realised that. Because when I'm pushing them. Because in case you guys don't know, Cowscrazy guest starred in my Twilight Princess LP like last year, and we pretty much just talked about how Wind Waker sucked, and yeah. And when I say we, I mean Cows did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So don't get me started on Wind Waker.
Okay,
well,
we won't talk
so they don't have a big new Wii U game coming out. They have nothing on the horizon and anything of interest that they could possibly talk about. They've decided that we don't need E3. We don't need this big platform. They've got something called Nintendo Direct now, which they do all the time, and I think they're pushing towards their own content, their own little TV show kind of thing to let out big news. I don't know if it's a similar thing to like TV and ratings and stuff, and they would rather just have people go to their Nintendo Direct and direct traffic that way than this big E3 conference for stuff. Maybe that's the goal here, because I get the sense that maybe in the future E3 isn't going to be as big as it's used to be in the past.
Well, I mean,
people
people have been saying that for years, that E3 won't be a big event. So I don't think it's that. I think they just want to have everything on their own terms, you know, with
exactly. Well, that's
social
why it's not
media.
going to be a big event, because instead of everybody coming together, everybody's being selfish. You know, everybody's just being look at me, look at me, look at me, instead of like let's look at us, let's look at video gaming.
Let's look out deep inside. Who are we? I don't know.
Who are we? I don't know.
No.
Who we
so,
are.
See, I would be annoyed about the news, but Nintendo Directs, they're great. I really like them.
They are great, but yeah, I can't complain about Nintendo Direct. I do like Nintendo Direct. I can watch them anytime, so it's all good.
Well, talking about Nintendo Direct, let's go into... It's 2 weeks old now, but seeing how I've got Cow's, big Nintendo guy on the podcast, we're going to go back and talk about the Nintendo Direct that happened a couple of weeks ago, because the funny thing is, again, when you were on my Twilight Princess LP, available now on my channel, I'm just mentioning that, the people want to see it, so I'm just going to mention that. We actually talked about this topic where they were saying about, they were deciding between... I think it was a Link to the Past remake, a Majora's Mask remake, or a sequel to A Link to the Past. And then we both said we would rather have the sequel, and now we have the sequel. They actually revealed it.
I'm shocked that we got a sequel to A Link to the Past, because I just figured in typical fashion they would just throw out another remake and be like, here you go. And... I don't know. The fact that they actually made a new game shocks me. My only concerns are, yet again, what Nintendo always does is they take a gimmick and then they use it until you are so sick of it that you just want to crawl into a hole and die. So as long as the gimmick of being able to put yourself into the wall isn't overused to a point where I want to throw up, I'm looking forward to this.
Well, I think that is just like a new item. Because one thing that's I'm pretty impressed with Nintendo when it comes to the Zelda games.
I'm hoping so. And that's
they do come up with quite interesting items.
Yeah. I'm all down for that if it's just an item and stuff like that. But if it's the whole point of the game and it's just overused... then yeah, it could get a little annoying.
I'm pretty excited for this game, mainly because it's going to be the first 2D Zelda game, or from that perspective anyway. It's on the 3DS, so I guess it's in 3D, but it's going to be the first 2D Zelda game for ages. I guess Spirit Tracks, and even then you were just driving a train around. So maybe even Minish Cap was the last proper one. So I'm just really excited to be, because I don't think they fully explored 2D Zelda games before they then moved on to the 3D ones.
No, me either. And I'm from the screenshots so far. There's been very little, but so far it feels like they have. It's gonna be a real sequel in my mind to A Link to the Past, because unlike other sequels to games like Zelda 2 to Zelda 1 and all that crap, the overworld is completely different. From what I've seen so far, I think I've seen actual landmarks from the game, so I know it's the same overworld, and I'll be in the same place at the same time, and it'll be familiar that way. It'll just be different.
Well, if you look at the trailer, you can see Link is in the area just below your uncle's house.
Yes.
Just going towards the lake. I think you can see Link in that general area.
That excited me.
Yeah, man. I respect Nintendo for doing this, but I think... I'll be honest, I think a lot of fans are going to walk away disappointed by this one. Not because it's a bad game,
No, No, I totally hear you there. It's because I am expecting so much, and there's just no way they can deliver it. There's
Yeah,
no way they can
absolutely.
deliver because like there's yet again there's all this mythos and stuff, and now that they've released this is also remember this is also the first Zelda game, new Zelda game, to be released after they have confirmed the timeline.
Yes.
So, now, if people were arguing about the timeline to begin with, and then they were arguing once they released it, like I am, I still disagree with it, people are going to argue even more because now you have to fit this game into the current timeline that you've already said. And oh, fuck, I can think of problems already. If you're using A Link to the Past and you're using the same overworld and all that crap, then that means this game doesn't take place too much longer after the original Link to the Past. So A, there better not be no Ganon in this game. Sorry to disappoint people. Ganon better not appear in this game.
Well, which
down,
timeline is A Link to the Past in? Is it in
it's
the one with the original Zelda game in?
No. Yes, it is.
Yeah, like original Zelda, and Zelda 2 ends that timeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Okay.
Oh.
A Link to the Past should be in a separate timeline because there are points in every series of games where Ganon either gets sealed away or beaten or driven back, but there's a couple where they indicate that he is dead. And the ones where he is dead should be in separate timelines. How can he die several times in the same timeline, but then none in another timeline? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, also, because at the end of The Link to the Past, Link actually goes to the Triforce.
Exactly. He has the whole Triforce. So how can afterwards the Triforce be split up again?
Plus, well, I think it's going to be a prequel. That would be my guess for this one.
Plus, A Link to the Past, if anything, should come before... it should come after Ocarina of Time, but I don't know. It kind of feels like it takes place different than Ocarina of Time, because it's about the Triforce, which is still in the Golden Land, but Ocarina of Time is also about the Triforce, but you never see it. But he's trying to get into this Golden Land, right? And in Ocarina of Time, when you get the first 3 pendants and you take out the Master Sword, you open that gateway and Ganon gets in, and that's how he gets the Triforce, right? So that's basically feels like that's where the story should end, and that's where he should be sealed away, and that is the point where Link to the Past should begin.
Well, yeah, that's what... I think Ocarina of Time and Link to the Past are the ones that are the most concretely connected, because the whole point is that at the end of Ocarina of Time, you seal Ganon away in the Golden Land, and then during that time he's sealed, he then turns it into the Dark World, and then uses that wizard guy to come back.
Link to the Past should be in the timeline where you go through Ocarina of Time, you beat the entire game, but when you go back in time, at the end of the game, when Zelda sends you back, you convince everybody what has really happened. So this time, you trick Ganon, you let him into the Golden Land, and they seal him in there with the Triforce. And that's when Ocarina of Time begins.
What, so you're saying A Link to the Past comes first?
No, it should come in the middle of that game.
Well, because at A Link to the Past, they talk about the Great War, but the Great War is what happened in Ocarina of Time.
Yes, before it. No, it comes before it. Because in Ocarina of Time, they talk about the war and how Link was brought by his mother into the forest.
So wait, so what war was that at the beginning of Ocarina of Time?
That's the Great War.
So, see, I actually have this book. I don't have it with me at the moment, but I do have it. And when I read it, it did make sense. It did kind of connect together, but...
It does, but at the same time, I can play through the games and I can think of moments and I can find loopholes in it. So, And also, here's the other thing. At the end of A Link to the Past, it says there better not be any Master Sword in the second game. No Master Sword. I want no Master Sword. It better not be in this game.
Well, you don't know when it's going to take place, though. That's the thing.
After A Link to the Past, it has to take place after A Link to the Past. It must. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. And if there's a Master Sword, they lied to me. Because the end of A Link to the Past says the Master Sword sleeps forever.
They sure did. Well, would you like it if it turns out at the end of A Link to the Past that Link uses the Triforce to wish himself back to before Ganon showed up again and warned Zelda, creating another split in the timeline? What about that? Would that...
No, because that would be
No?
that would be the dumbest wish ever. Why would you wish to go and warn somebody when you can wish for anything? Wish! It's a wish!
Horse!
Wish to warn.
Maybe not horse. Well, anyway, I think we better, stop talking about the Zelda timeline, because that could be the whole podcast, and
That could be the whole podcast.
which I would have no problem with, but not everyone is going to be that into Zelda, I don't think, or...
Probably not.
Yeah, it might get a bit... Yeah, so... Now, the next piece of news, I don't know if you want to go into this, but it's about the new Xbox and all the different rumours and reports about it, so... Well, the concrete information we know is that it's going to get revealed on the 21st of May, so do you have any interest in this new Xbox at this point in time?
Well, funny that you mentioned that it's the 21st of May, because that kind of ties into our last topic there with Nintendo not having a big announcement at E3. It looks like Xbox would be doing the same. Why would they be announcing all this jazz before? Why would they not hold off another month?
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. You either do it now or you do it at E3.
About at their big conference? Because they haven't said they're not doing one. So what are they going to talk about at their conference if they're going to launch their console and launch all their crap right now? Like, that, it really makes me wonder. Plus, if the rumors about this thing is that this Xbox is no discs and it's completely digital and it's all download, and you have to have it on the internet. And I'll tell you this right now: I'm very much soured on Xbox over the last couple of years, and if that's the way they're going, my interest is almost at a zero.
Yeah, it's kind of... I don't know which one I kind of want, because I do like the look of the PS4. But I hate the controller. I can't believe they're still doing DualShock again.
Don't get me started on PS4 too, because while I am, if you told me no other video game consoles existed on the face of the earth, and I just had to choose between this new Xbox and PS4, then I would probably choose PS4. But at the same time, do I think we need a PS4? No, I do not think we need a PS4. You think we need a PS4?
Well,
really?
Because it's been 8 years. There's got to be some progression. There's got to be something
to what?
new.
What
progression
are they
to just more.
To more of what?
Well, I won't. It's definitely... This is going to be the smallest generation jump out of all of them. You can't really argue with that.
There's not much of a jump here. Like the difference in graphics or speed or power or anything, it's going to be so minimal. It's not going to really... They probably could do a system update and get to a PS4 for crying out loud.
Well, I think the thing is, I think they need a new PS4 because when you play new games now, like new 360 games, you can tell that they're at their limit when they come to like graphics. They're hitting their limit, and they just need a new console.
But they're good enough.
Yeah, but for how long is that going to last, though?
Please. Like, it's not like you're going all 3D here on TVs and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I really, really have doubts that the capabilities are going to be so much better than a PS3. I just really do.
Well, really, I don't want to be the stats technical guy, but if you just look at the stats, the PS4 is a big jump ahead of the PS3.
Well,
there's 4 processors, 8 gigs of RAM, better graphics card, all that kind
of stuff. It all sounds good, but in the end, it's all about the games.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It's all
And
about the games.
Yeah,
And
there are no PS4 games that look like you must have them.
And that's the exact same complaint I've had about Wii U when it came out. Sure, Wii U and their separate controller and stuff like that all looks great, but the main argument to make a Wii U in the first place was, well, we need competitors and blah blah blah, and we need new games. Well, no. So if that's your argument for a new system, that's a bad argument, because all you need to do is make games. If you make games, people will buy your system. It's not vice versa. You don't make a system to get people to buy your games. You make games to get people to buy your system. And I feel like that's what all of the, not just majorly Nintendo is doing that right now. That's a big mistake. But now I'm starting to feel like Sony and Microsoft are doing the same thing, that they're making a console to try to get you to buy your games and not the other way around. It should be the other way around. You make really good games and people will buy your system.
That's definitely true, but I mean, I think at this point then it's it's not fair to judge the PS4 or the Xbox, because PS4 they just showed like a demo reel and the Xbox hasn't been announced.
That's fair enough. But my history, well, at least recent history, will indicate to me that they will launch with the shittiest lineup of games ever, and you will have no interest.
Well, I think that's just how consoles are nowadays. Like, what was the last console that had like the killer game?
That's the problem. Like,
maybe the Wii with Twilight Princess, but then you could have got it on the GameCube. So
you could have, and even GameCube didn't launch with any bit. It launched with Luigi's Mansion, and I know everybody loves Luigi's Mansion now because Chugga Conroy did it. Okay, but
he's a wonderful man.
But at the time, it was not. It still isn't It's a great game, but it's still not a big game. It's more of a cult game. It's not the game. Nintendo should never launch any system without Zelda or without a big Mario game, and Sony should not launch their system without something like Uncharted or what's another big franchise of theirs, or
Killzone.
Killzone, or
they did announce the new Killzone.
They did. I don't know. Is that up there? Is Killzone up there with like a God of War or something like that?
Maybe it's not. It's not the biggest, but it's definitely one of, because it's an exclusive franchise that sells well. It's one of them.
A system with at least somebody from your big three ready to go. Right,
well, that's the interesting thing about the new Xbox. The big three they're gone. Halo, Gears of War, there can't be a new one.
What do you mean there can't be a new one?
Because Halo 4 came out last year and Gears of War came out this year. So there can't be a new one of them for launch.
I see what you're saying. I think big mistake then. Big mistake.
I agree. They should have just delayed Gears of War Judgment for the new console. I think that's kind of an obvious move.
Have you played Gears of War Judgment?
Well, no.
I have not, but all I hear is crap. So it's stopping me. I almost bought it a couple times, but the reviews are telling me that this thing is horrible.
Well, I think we got to wait until they announce it. But if you look at all the franchises on Xbox, there isn't a big one on the way that's due. There's none.
No, there's nothing.
Which is kind of embarrassing.
And if they're getting rid of discs, I'm not going to be too happy about that.
No, I don't think they are. I think that's just kind of a rumor.
I hope that's BS.
I think they're going to Blu-ray for the new one. That would be my guess.
Wouldn't that mean they would have to work with Sony, though? And would Sony allow that?
Well, Sony don't own the patent to it. I don't know how it works, but I don't think Sony owns the patent to it. I think it's some complicated business stuff.
Complicated business stuff, huh? Well, that's always fun.
Like, I think Sony just supported Blu-ray to kill HD DVD with their PS3, because they always had to be like the technology one, and I guess they still are. So, you know, PS1 had CD, PS2 DVD, and then Blu-ray, and then I guess PS4 is just Blu-ray again. So wicked. But I think either way, it's not looking great for the next generation. But we're just gonna have to wait and see if they can pull those killer games out of their ass, I suppose. So let's talk about I think this is the real biggest news.
Oh boy.
Probably of the year. I mean...
Drum roll, please.
It is. You've been waiting for it, ladies and gentlemen. They have announced that they're doing a Ratchet and Clank film. So
God.
I know, it's amazing. It's an odd thing, because you haven't seen the trailer, but it's a very simple trailer. It's just Ratchet and Clank, like, with Quark, and then they're like, hey, don't annoy the animators, and then they do a funny joke with that. It's just pretty much an announcement thing. But
I find this extremely odd that Ratchet and Clank is getting a movie, though.
Well, here's the odd thing about it. It's coming out in 2015. Will anyone care about Ratchet and Clank in 2015?
Does anybody care about them right now enough for a movie? Like, sure, it's a good... I understand they have a lot of games, and I've played the first one, at least, so I know that, and I've seen LPs of the other ones, and they look like fun games, and I'm sure they have some funny jokes in them and stuff like that, but is it really big enough to carry a movie? Like,
I don't think so, but the only thing that makes... It's weird because...
Out of all the video game franchises out there,
yeah,
think of other ones that are more deserving of a movie, but at the same time, there are other ones that are so big that I would never want to see a movie.
You don't want to see... Yeah, you don't want to see a new Mario movie? A sequel? Same cast?
No. Same cast. I don't think you could ever do a Mario movie correctly, at least in the way that the fans wouldn't crap all over it.
Well, there's no story to Mario.
Sure, Peach is trying to make him a cake and Bowser kind of wants to stop him.
Yeah, and there's no real dilemma. It's like, well, that's the dilemma. The Mario is just, I guess I'll save Peach, I suppose.
I guess so.
It's more about Bowser's emotional journey of letting the idea of marrying Peach go than Mario's journey of saving Peach, I would say.
But, I'm just hoping Nintendo stays out of the movie business because as much as I've seen people want a Zelda movie, no, they will only screw it up. Do not let it happen. But anyways, even back to Sony, okay? Like, is this their idea? Is this the publisher's idea of Ratchet and Clank? Is this their idea to make a movie from this? Like, who thought Ratchet and Clank, these are the guys we gotta go with? Here's the one plus they've done, though. It's not live action.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That with video game characters are such a bizarre world and such bizarre creations, when you compare it to film, that you kind of have to go animated. But that's the odd thing about this.
But that's the mistake other games have made, like Street Fighter. Okay, you try to make them live action and put these large personalities into these things, and then they just turn out to be huge piles of crap. Like, you know, when Jean-Claude...
Prince of Persia? I just keep mentioning stuff that makes you upset. I'm very sorry.
It doesn't make me upset. It makes me... see, that one I feel differently about, because I was never really a fan of the Prince of Persia games. Right. So I could try to separate myself from that a little bit. So... But I know enough about those games that I can put myself back into it. So if I'm watching it as a movie, Prince of Persia wasn't a bad movie. If I'm watching it as a fan of the video games, it's a hunk of crap.
Yeah, I hate it. I've never played... Well, I'm in the same boat where I'm not a fan of the series, but I watched that film, and I really didn't like it. As a fan of films, I didn't like that film. I
didn't think it was horrible. I just didn't think it was like... I need to watch this many times. It was good for a one-time watch, as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't like I felt like I wasted my 2 hours in the theater or whatever.
Can they put that on the DVD, that quote? I didn't feel like I've wasted my 2 hours.
Cowscrazy says, I didn't feel like I wasted my 2 hours.
I watched it once, but never again. Cowscrazy. And that'll be it. That's all you need.
That's about it, yeah.
That'll sell like hotcakes.
But I think that's the problem with any video game movie you ever try to make, is you will never... Your main audience for this video game movie is the people that played the video game, but you will never, ever please them.
No.
Never.
Well, the example I want to give is that the Resident Evil films. Now, I really like the first two Resident Evil films because they were so bad they were good. Because the acting was so atrocious in those films that it was really entertaining to watch.
Well, my brother, I've never seen those, but my brother says the second one is even worse in his mind because most of that movie was shot in Toronto, and it's shot in a way that people from the city are aware of the locations. It's not like other movies. Like, lots of movies are shot here in Toronto, and they try to pretend it's New York or Chicago or some other big city, right?
Okay.
But when they do that in other movies, it's shot in a way that you can't tell that it's really Toronto. But he goes, it's done so badly that you just know you're not really somewhere else. It's just, he goes, it's just a joke. He just keeps going, I know where that is, I know where that is, I know where that place is. Oh, there's another important building in our city, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that must have sucked for you, because the city
I
gets
never
nuked
saw it, but
at the end.
He's like, yeah, one of the big points of the film, like, is shot right at City Hall and all that. And he goes, it just feels even more weird or something stupid like that.
Well, yeah, they're terrible, but my point is that they actually did do 2 animated films, which I've also seen. The animated films were much better than the live-action films, because they were just a lot better. You could, do a lot more. It felt more connected to the game, so I think animated is the way to go.
Once you make it live-action, like I was saying about Street Fighter, you now think Guile and Jean-Claude Van Damme, you're trying to merge this really big Hollywood personality into a video game character, and you're comparing that character now to this person. But with an animated film, you're not really doing that. It's still just the character itself. You're not really comparing it to an actual real person, right?
Yeah, with a film, it's a different medium, so you have to twist the idea to make it fit.
Yeah, you're not putting a real personality onto this character, right?
Yeah, because there was also... I could just keep naming bad video game films all day, but the most recent one was Silent Hill Revelation, and I think that did a decent job, but... I mean, the problems with that film wasn't the fact that it was based on a video game. The problem was that the ending was absolutely terrible, and there was a lot of just... Yeah, the ending was just so bad that it was just killed the whole film, but... I mean, I think if we just look at Ratchet & Clank in this film... I think it could work. I mean, if as a kids kind of film, I don't know if it'll compete with Pixar or DreamWorks, but I think it could work,
But because the games themselves are, in a way, animated, my concern, it might still be good. Might not just feel like one really long cutscene?
I would hope that there's enough talented people behind it who know enough about films that they would do it in a way that it wouldn't. You would hope, anyway. Yeah,
it's got to feel more... What's the word I'm looking for? It's got to feel larger than just...
engaging?
Yeah, it's got to feel larger than just your average cutscene in a video game, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see this happen more often because Ubisoft now have a movie studio and they're doing a Splinter Cell film with... I think Tom Hardy is the lead in either the Splinter Cell film or the Assassin's Creed film. So this is a trend.
Why do they need to make a Splinter Cell game? Like, doesn't that guy who makes the games write those books who also have made those movies?
Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
Clancy, whatever. Well, Splinter Cell wasn't a book. He just made those
I know. But he makes those other books which make those movies like The Hunt for Red October and all that, right? That's the same person, right?
Yeah, that's the guy.
So why do they need to make a movie based off his video game series? Why not just let that guy continue to make his own stories separate from the video games?
Well, the question is, it's a successful video series and there's a name behind it. It's a franchise now, so people will see it.
He's big enough that he could write anything and people will probably go watch it, though.
You think nowadays Tom Clancy still has that kind of impact?
I think so. He
in
made
popular culture.
he made those 4 or 5 really big movies. Well, maybe not to younger people, but at least to maybe the older people that watch those movies. I think they would go back and watch more political drama. Like,
Yeah, maybe not quite. Maybe.
maybe not. But what's the other one that he did?
Uh, what other game he did or film?
No, the film, the one with Harrison Ford, right?
What, The Fugitive?
No,
Or
he
the
did-
Air Force One?
no.
I'm just naming Harrison Ford films. Star Wars 2,
No.
Star Wars the third one again.
No, I don't think Tom Clancy had anything to do with that.
Damn it.
Patriot Games? Is that what it was?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, maybe. But he did those kind of films, and they were really big back in the day. So, I don't know. Is he just known as a video game guy now, and now as
Pretty
a book
much.
and movie writer?
Why, they just slap his name on everything. So you got Rainbow
Yeah, they do.
Six, and there was that game End War. I think they slapped his name on that as well. So I don't know. I guess Splinter Cell is also more like you could have it more actiony as well. So you could have it as like an action blockbuster, and it's like, hey, it's the well, you know how these executives think and the way they kind of go.
I don't like how they think, though, because, like, I don't know. To me, that just it feels like it hurts the movie more than it does anything good for it. Because like if you make everybody think it's an original movie, I think that might be better. Like people that are on the fence about watching this movie, if they figure out, oh, it's based off a video game, that might make them not want to go.
Well, I don't think basing films off video games is a bad idea, but the reason it falls down so many times is because they don't put any talented people behind it. It's just the guy who had an idea, they just give money to him and not that much money.
Go make some money, yeah.
Yeah, they just, because they already have the name, they know people will see it, they don't have to put a big force behind it. Like with the new Superman film, they were like, right, we need people to go see this, so we're going to put Zack Snyder behind it, we're going to put Christopher Nolan behind it, we're going to put the writer of The Dark Knight behind it. So it's going to probably be a good film. But with video game
it
ones...
looks that way, but they have screwed up Superman so many times now that I have my doubts still. So
Well, I think Superman is just a terrible superhero, but that's not for now.
He's OP.
Yeah, he's just kind of silly.
Yeah, so and to make a really good character, he needs to have flaws, and it's hard to find a flaw in Superman because he's Superman.
Yeah, it's not really great. Well, I think we gotta... Once again, we're getting these issues done. We're getting them sorted, but I gotta kind of cut it off to go on to the next topic. It's kind of sad.
It is sad.
It's the first podcast where this has kind of happened. But
Kind of cry a little bit inside.
well, definitely. I do that all the time when I record the podcast. What my videos are built on, me being dead inside. Well, with that depressing note, let's go on to what's come out. Now, this isn't a game, but, you know, me and you, we're a couple of Wii U owners, and I've been really loving this new update that they released.
Loving the update.
Because there's a load of different features on it, but the main one is that the loading times are now... Would you say less than half? I might even say
I would say less than half. I would say less than half. And I would be impressed by these loading times if I ever had a reason to turn on my Wii U.
It's amazing. Because the great thing about this now is that, oh, well, I just, pick... That's not nice. It now means that I can actually pick up just the gamepad, turn it on, and not have to worry about sitting through any loading screens.
I could go right over there, grab my Wii pad, dust it off, and turn it on.
Recharge the battery.
Yeah, and it would probably load up in a very reasonable amount of time now, instead of forever like it used to.
Well,
And
the thing why I like it is because you kind of mentioned you're not a fan, but because of how the Virtual Console is, that I can just turn on my gamepad and load up an old classic game.
The Virtual Console, I was happy to finally see it launch, but when you launch the Virtual Console with just the games that you've been offering for 30 cents and a couple extra, like 1 or 2 extra that aren't, that's not really a good lineup. My question is, you have already digitized all these games for your other lineups for either 3DS or whatever, maybe I can understand there's a different aspect ratio, but let's be more comparison here. You've already digitized how many games for Wii? Why is the Wii U Virtual Console not launching with every single game that's already out for Wii?
Well, it's a
minimum.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo are known for not being very good at this sort of thing, and
Exactly. At minimum, it should
you-
have every game that Wii does, and then more. Not
Well,
less.
I think the weird thing is that, or the interesting thing is that you can, at the moment, if you transfer over your Wii Virtual Console games, if they're NES or Super NES, then you can put them on your Wii U, and then you pay money to get all the extra features.
That is you can pay money, but I believe that is once they come out. You can't have those extra features if they're not out yet.
Oh, so you could do it with like Super Mario World, but you couldn't do it with Chrono Trigger.
Exactly, because it's not out yet.
Well, I was honestly, yeah, they definitely they needed. How hard can it be to have NES games? Like, I can kind of understand the delay on maybe N64, maybe, but with NES and Super NES,
maybe I could understand that. Okay, maybe, but even still, they've had a lot of time to work on this. It shouldn't really be that difficult. They're already in a digital format, and from my understanding, that is the most difficult part, is getting them off of cartridges and into the digital format. And you've already done the hardest part, so it just shouldn't be that hard. It just really
because I don't, as a Wii owner, we went through this already, where they were very little games. And now it's only at this point where there's actually a really good library of Wii games, but that took like 4 or 5 years to build up. So it's kind of depressing looking at it now that maybe with the Wii U, we're going to go through this exact same process again. Because they should be releasing like 3-4 games a week on the Wii U.
They should have launched like I said, they should have launched with like 100 freaking games. Like right away. Here's our library, gigantic. Go ahead, everything you've ever wanted. Do you know how much money people would be spending in the first week if you just launched with all these games? Here's what I think they think. They think if we release them slowly, people will buy every single one because there's nothing else to do, and they'll play the games like that. And that's just insane to think. Nobody's going to buy every single one. That just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, but that's what they think you're going to do.
Well, because if you only put 8 and then only put 1 a week, then people can buy every single one. Way.
But they're not going to. That's just crazy time. That's just crazy.
Also, I don't know how it is in Canada or what lineup you got, but did you get like Mario Super? What was it? It began with P. It was like Picross or something like that as one of the launch games.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was 8 launch games here. They were I think I can remember them. Super Mario World, F-Zero, Kirby's Adventure, Punch-Out, Balloon Fight.
Yep.
Oh, shoot. I should have looked this up. I can't remember. Because the only one I brought was Super Mario World on day 1. Because I already have the other ones. But yeah.
That's the other thing that I'm a little annoyed with, too, is if I were to buy Super Mario World, that would now be another console that I own this game on. How many times do I have to own the same game?
Well, you don't have to buy it.
I don't have to buy it. But that makes me even more annoyed. The games that I would want to buy aren't out. Like, they should really be focusing on the GameCube lineup and the Game Boy Advance lineup. And
I don't think we'll see those for another 2 years, if I'm being honest.
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about.
We still haven't seen the Game Boy Advance games on 3DS officially come out.
No, we haven't, and I don't think they're going to be honest with you. But I think they're more into if a game from Game Boy Advance is worth selling you again, they would rather remake it as a 3DS game. That's my feeling.
I don't know. I just don't think they
Because
they just do things in
Capcom
a...
did that with the Mega Man games, where they had their Game Boy Advanced Mega Man games, and then they decided, well, we're not going to put them out on your digital service. What we'll do is we'll re-release them as a DS game.
Well, I would just like Mega Man 6, that's all I want. That would be really nice if they released that over here.
I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
You don't get Mega Man 6.
Oh.
No.
Any
no.
reason? Any reason?
Because we didn't give it to you when it first came out in 1990, and now as a sick joke, we're going to make sure you never get it anywhere.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, it's fair's fair, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna build it up that you think it must be just the greatest game ever because you can't play it.
Oh. Well, we do kind of get screwed. Like, the first time Chrono Trigger came out over here was on the DS, and the first time Super Mario RPG came out over here was on the Wii Virtual Console. They just didn't come out on the SNES over here. I think I'm right with Chrono Trigger. I know I'm right with Super Mario RPG there. They just don't get released for some reason. Kind of annoying.
It is kind of annoying.
Either way, with the Virtual Console, that aside, that is definitely a big flaw, and Nintendo need to, get on it and make sure the Virtual Console is this huge library where you can just, even if you just remember, like, oh, I remember playing that game, oh, I'll just download it, just make it easy to have all these games up. It is still really cool being able to turn on the gamepad, boot up a game, and then just play it on the gamepad. I think they definitely have done that really well.
They have, but that it only makes me hungry for more. I want more on my gamepad. I want to be able to do everything on my gamepad.
See, I'm kind of happy because I never played Super Mario World, so this is the first time I'm playing it. And I just boot up my gamepad or turn on the gamepad and just sit down and play this Mario game I've never played before. So for me, I'm having a really good time with it.
Having a good time.
Absolutely. Although I'm awful at Super Mario World. I die like 3 or 4 times every level. I'm just so terrible at it. The enemies just get me. They just know where I'm going to be. And they just get me.
I'll give you a pro tip.
Okay.
What you want to do is jump on them.
Oh!
Yeah.
I've just been trying to, hit my, face into them.
Smush
him to death or something.
No.
Or
Mario has... Apparently, if you touch Mario anywhere on his body, he will be injured. But the soles of his feet are protected.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah, it's amazing.
See, they don't tell you that in the game. They needed some
sort of
half-an-hour tutorial to explain this.
So if he steps on anything, basically he is immune. So you want to jump.
So
that's why some people call him the Jump Man.
I wouldn't call him that, but some people have.
Some people have called him the Jump Man.
Allegedly in the past.
Yes.
So let's also talk about the other Wii U thing that came out that you haven't checked out, but I want to mention it. It's the Rayman Legends Challenge app. And for anyone who hasn't heard of it, because I think it hasn't really been it's been like a soft launch of this thing. If you have a Wii U, you might know about it, because it's on the eShop, but that's about it. Where pretty much what it is, it's like mini levels from Rayman Legends that they release every day, and what you do, you just give it a go, and you see what score you can get on the level. Like, there's one where you have to try and run as fast as you can.
Every day, there's a new level every day?
Yeah, every day there's a new challenge up that you can try.
And are these actual levels from the game itself?
I'm assuming they're taken from the game, but edited so they work in that kind of format.
And how long are they going to be doing this for?
From what I can tell, they're going to be doing it up to launch, so August 30th.
And then the challenge app will be pointless?
Well, I think they will then stop it, but I can't say for certain. I'm just assuming that they'll then stop it or rework it or something.
Okay, I guess that's not too long, but still, every day till August 30th. It's possible you could play through the entire game at some point then.
Well, I'm kind of hoping, that Ubisoft are smart enough where they don't do that, where they change it enough so you don't...
Yeah.
There'll be certain parts where you'll be like, oh, that's from there, but I'm assuming they're going to mix it up enough so you don't... It won't ruin the game for you.
I would
But
hope
there
so.
are actually 2 daily challenges, and then there's 2 weekly challenges every week. So there's a lot of stuff there. And
That does sound pretty good.
It's really cool. It is free as well, so I'm
Free?
definitely... Yeah, it's free.
Yes, free! Free is the greatest number ever.
It's a pretty solid number. I can't argue with it.
But
now I'm pretty much... me and Ubisoft, we're good. I'm buying Rayman Legends again. No more boycott.
Let's confirm here, though,
Okay.
that when you say free,
Sure.
is it always free? There's no, well, it's free, but if you pay us a little bit extra, you can get this and this and this extra stuff.
No, it's free.
No, it's all free. Because, even some of those, there's those free apps which you download, and then once you're in it, they go, well, it'll work a little bit, but if you want this app to work even better, how about you give us $1 or something like that, and then it'll work even better. So it's not one of those download it for free and then we'll trick you into giving you money.
No, it's all free. They actually have already done that on the Wii U, though. Have you seen the game Tanks, Tanks, Tanks?
No, but I've heard about it.
If you go onto the Wii U eShop, you can download the whole game for free. It's amazing. But you can't play it because you have to buy the levels and the tanks. So I downloaded this thing that was like 4 gigs, started playing it, and then it was just like, click here to actually buy a tank that you can play with. And then click here to buy a level so you can actually play that level.
Yep, that's the kind of game I was thinking about. Exactly.
It was really embarrassing.
Because then here's the real kicker. First you buy it for free. And then you're like, oh crap, well now I can't do nothing unless I pay for a little bit for it. Once you pay a little bit for it, you're screwed. Because now you've invested in it. So now you've invested a little bit, and then you come to a point where it says you got to pay a little bit more if you want to do this. And you're like, well, I've already invested a little bit. What's a little bit more so I can do a little bit more? And then it's a little bit more so I can do a little bit more. And then next thing you know, you've now paid like $80 or $100 for this game that's like not even worth it at all.
Yeah, that's the problem. Once you go over that line of paying for it, it's like, well, I've paid for this. It's just, all I need to do is pay a bit more, and my investment would have been even more worth it. It's all.
I have apps like that on my phone too, where like little game apps that are only supposed to take you like 2 or 3 minutes, just as a distraction kind of thing when you're like sitting on a bus or something. And then like every once in a while they'll want you to pay like a little bit of money so you can do this extra special thing in your app or whatever. But if you do that, then it's just like, oh, now I've put money into it. And like there's some games, like there's a Simpsons game on my app where you like gotta build a town and stuff like that. But every once in a while they want you to like pay money to get extra characters or bonus houses or whatever to build into your Simpsons city, right? But if you do that, you could easily be spending $200, $300, $400 on all this extra crap. And it's just like, is that game really worth that? No way! It's not even worth $10. It's just a time filler. But
people do it. That's it. People actually
I know people do it.
People should just be like, no, I'm not doing that. And then people would, companies wouldn't do it that way. But people are like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm having fun. It's just a fun time.
It's quite sad that, lots of people on this planet are just freaking stupid.
Sure.
And I don't mean any of your listeners, because
we're the accepted few.
You guys are all geniuses.
You mean all 12 of my subscribers? Yes.
Ding.
Nice.
Yay! But other than that, everybody else on this planet, other than me, you, and everybody listening, are idiots.
Yes. Well, let's just say people who pay $400 for an app are stupid.
Yeah, see, they're even stupider because they don't realize they've spent $400 on the app, because it's $1 here, it's $2 here, it's $7 maybe for something premium. They're like, whoa, okay, I'll go out on a limb for that one. But then, if you really think about it, over the course of time, it all starts to add up,
Well, the depressing thing about all that is that it's kids doing it, charging it to their parents' credit cards. So they're the ones paying for it, and the kid's like, oh, my Joshua, he's just spending all my money on something that doesn't matter.
Oh, isn't that cute? Ha ha ha.
He's a kid. I should really take that iPad away before he bankrupts me. iPads are scary with kids. They can ruin your life with that thing.
But yeah, I was not aware Tanks was like that, and
Oh yeah.
that annoys me. Can't you not buy that game like in disc format and have everything up?
Yep. You can just go to a shop and buy it normally, and no problems.
Okay, so everything's unlocked when you buy it normally then.
Yeah, I would assume so. There might be some DLC, but you do actually get a game that you can play if you go into a shop and buy the disc.
Wow.
Which is what I was hoping for, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just naive, maybe. It's all very sad.
Well, that's why when you say free, I'm just making sure it's free because
it is free, alright? It's definitely free. Go check it out.
Because the rule in life is nothing is free. There's always a cost.
With child slaves. That's always the cost. It always comes back to that somehow.
Please, sir, may I have a drink of water?
Shut your mouth. That's what I say.
Shut your mouth.
I'm gonna be a great dad if that ever happens. Well, so we don't go into child abuse anymore. Let's move on to I think we're gonna skip games that have actually come out because none of them are really noteworthy.
No.
I told you about them before, and also this is the longest podcast by far.
Woohoo!
I know, it's pretty interesting. The other podcast, I hit like 52 minutes, like on the nose every time. It's
on the
really
nose.
Weird. Oh, around there. They're all exactly at the same time without me even trying. It's kind of odd. So this is, doing something different, getting it done. So I think we're going to go on to the gaming topic of the podcast, the special one, because also something I want to mention. I don't know if you heard what the podcast is called, Cows, but you're part of the reason why it has this name.
I think I heard. I think I caught the title there at the beginning. Yes,
it's called Nope, There's Only Trash Here podcast, which I don't know if you maybe made a joke about that saying at some point that I might have
possible.
seen.
I might have said it somewhere close to 150 times in one episode. Of course, some of them were edited out. I might have said it so many times I started to annoy somebody called X09091, and then I said it even more that it became funny again.
Perhaps, maybe it came back around.
It's quite possible, yeah. It was one of those kind of jokes that kind of, it's like, okay, stop it. But then if you just keep going, it's funny again. It's funny
and
again.
then you keep going, and they shoot themselves. So it's all just a happy time. But no, because when I was trying to name the podcast, I was like, well, I don't really want to go for the whole video game pun sort of thing. Like thrown controllers or dodgy analog stick. Way. So I just thought I'll just take a quote from a video game, like your princess is in another castle, but not quite as obvious. So then I remembered your Let's Play of Pokemon Fire Red that you guys should go check out. It's a good one. And
I've had people check it out even to this day, and somebody was just watching that episode the other day, and it brought back those memories. So it's always great.
See, I'm gonna chug a Conroy you and send my fans to that video and claim that I did it first, and that you suck because of it. That's the way this has to go down.
Okay, I see how
it's the internet. It's a dog-eat-dog world, I'm afraid. Although I think your fans would destroy me and my less than 10 fans, so maybe I shouldn't start this war.
Maybe not.
Maybe. I'm going to anyway, but it's probably a bad idea. So back to the gaming topic. The topic is, where should the mainstream Mario platformers go next? Now, at this point in time, there's been no announcements about no concrete announcements about what the next Mario game is going to be. So I've broken it down into 3 different, semi-series or things, ways they could go. So the first one is looking at the new Super Mario Bros. Series. So what do you think of that series in general, Cows? Are you a fan?
They need to drop the word new. That is pissing me off. Okay? It is not new Super Mario Brothers. It was when you brought it out the very first time on DS. You cannot keep calling it new if it's going to stick around. It's going to be around for a long, time.
Well, I think that's why it's sticking, because it is around. It's now a series, so
exactly, and it's just not new though. It should just be Super Mario Brothers. Drop the new, okay? Because you don't call Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine or any of the 3D platformers. Those are not Mario Brothers games, okay? You already had a name for these side-scrollers, and that was called Super Mario Brothers, okay? Those were the side-scrollers. So the new thing, that's really annoying me. Let's drop that. That's the first thing that has to go. Second of all...
that does make sense.
Yes. Second of all, you already have one for your Wii U already. So I don't think... and you already have what? How many? Is there...
There's 4.
Have they made 2 of them for your 3DS? Or
No, 1. They made the first one on DS, second one on Wii,
that's right.
Third one on 3DS, and fourth one on the Wii U.
There is already one for every console you basically have had in the last little while. So I don't see another one coming out. I really don't. Alright, so as I was trying to say here, would you count Mario 3D Land as a 3DS game, or was that just sort of a side project in your...
I would say it's part of the 3D Mario series. I wouldn't say it's a side project, because I think I think they're going to make another one.
So then technically you think so?
Well, I think they're going to make another...
That's not really Nintendo style. Nintendo style is usually one game per system, with the exception of Mario Galaxy, because that was so big, and they didn't really get it right the first time. But Mario... See, that's the real worry here, is you would have to think their next really big project is a 3D game for Wii U. You would have to think so. But where do they
Well, they confirmed it, so...
Where do they go from Galaxy 2?
Well, that's the big question. That's the golden question.
It's all downhill in my mind. I think they hit the high note. I don't see how they beat Galaxy 2. Because honestly, I've never been a big fan of the 3D Mario games. They've been alright, but I've never really loved them. But in my eyes, they've only gotten better as they've gone along. Like... Mario 64, I'm sorry. I know this is going to piss a lot of people off. I hated Mario 64.
Okay.
Hated it. Hate it with a passion. Sunshine, in my eyes, was a little bit better. A little bit better, because it had those kind of retro little things where you got to go into there, and I didn't mind the storyline that much, and I don't know, I thought it was a little interesting, with these Delfino guys. So I was a little interested by it. So Sunshine, in my eyes, was a little better. And then it went on to Galaxy, which I actually thought was really well done. I liked the gravity and all that stuff.
Well, the thing about the Galaxy games is that they were, especially 2, they were the purest version of turning the 2D Mario games into 3D. Because they were obstacle courses again. They were just, you're at this point, you're in some crazy video game land, and you got to get to the end.
The first one, but I didn't really like the hub world. I didn't like the spaceship and all that stuff, and so that felt all weird and clunky. But Galaxy 2, it felt like it all came together. They had it separated into traditional Mario worlds and levels, and you went along, and then at the end of each world there was a castle, and it felt more traditional, but yet it was still 3D, right?
Right.
So I felt like that's really where they've hit their high note, and at best they could copy this, but I really don't know how they're going to. How do you up it? I don't know if you can.
Well, I think if they're going to go for anything, we're going to see Super Mario 3D Land on the Wii U, a sequel. Well, not a sequel, but that sort of style, just more complicated. So it'll be those kind of levels where you're dropped in and then you play the level. I don't know if Nintendo are actually going to continue on the 3D tradition of trying to have some sort of world connecting everything. Because that was the main difference with 3D Land.
Yeah.
There wasn't a hub world at all.
No, but it was still separated into worlds.
Yeah, but it wasn't, Super Mario 64, the castle. And then,
okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I didn't mind that. I actually embraced that they're just being a level board. I I was fine with that completely.
Well, it works in 3D Land, but
Yeah.
for, the big new Wii U 3D Mario game, they're going to have to come up with a setting. And I think the question is, are they going to go for like a pretty standard setting, like 64, or are they going to go for a setting with personality, like Sunshine? Because I would really like to see them do another... Because Sunshine was really cool because it was like unique, because you were on an island, there was an actual kind of setting to it. And I would like to see them do another setting in that kind of way, just not a holiday island.
What I would like to see Mario do, and they've already kind of have a sort of a precedent for it, is every once in a while they should take note from their Zelda games, even. Like, I know
Split the timeline?
No, not a timeline.
Oh.
But no, definitely not a Mario timeline. But every once in a while in a Zelda game, it feels like every game is about Ganon, but really it's not. Every game isn't about Ganon. And what I would like to see is a Mario game that isn't about Bowser and about Peach. And they kind of have a precedent for this already.
What, with Super Mario Bros. 2?
Well, it doesn't have to be Mario Bros. 2 because they copped out with a dream, but
okay.
They have the Game Boy series, which is what I thought Mario 3D Land was going to be when they called it Land. I really thought this is the direction they were headed. I thought they were going to go back to Mario Land on the Game Boy, where it was him and even Wario showing up and Daisy as the princess and that kind of stuff. So I thought and it was different kind of world, like where your fireballs flew and like bounced off of stuff, and it was slightly different, right? And those weird spaceships and stuff.
Well, I think that's what I kind of was disappointed by with 3D Land, that the Game Boy ones always allowed for more experimentation when it came to the Mario formula with the Super Mario Land, which eventually led to Wario Land series. But with 3D Land, they didn't do any of that, which is why I was kind of disappointed by it.
Yeah, that's like, it was fun for a little bit, and then I realized it's just more of the same. So, I don't know. I'd like to see them go into something without Bowser, to be honest with you.
I think that would be really cool. I don't know how they would... Well, the thing is, with Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, it almost felt like a parody of like the original games, like with Paper Mario did the parody of the...
Well, yeah, I just would like to see Wario back as the antagonist. Like, I know they've tried to make him like the fun kind of guy in recent times, and he's spun off with his own games, but like, they really only had him that one time in that one game as the villain, and I think he would be a great villain. And I don't know, I'd like to see more of that clash.
Well, I think I would like to see that on the 3D, with like a new 3D Mario game with that. But I think for the main, with the console one, just come up with a new creative villain. The Mario and Luigi series has been doing it for a while. Just Nintendo are, they can come up with new stuff when they want to. Just come up with something new and kind of different. Maybe take inspiration from the RPG series. If they really
feel they can't do it without Bowser, then I wouldn't mind Bowser being in the game as long as he's not the main villain. You could even spin it like people like RPG because Bowser's still evil, but at the same time he needs to help you. I wouldn't mind a story like that, where like he's still a bad guy, but at the same time he's also threatened by something that's happening. I'd like to see them put maybe more thought into their story instead of, oh, Peach is making a cake again. Yay, let's take over the world.
Well, I think that would be great, but I mean, I think half the reason why the RPG games can get away with it is because they're RPGs and they have a lot of dialogue. Whatever this new Mario game is going to be on the Wii U isn't going to have a lot of dialogue. That's kind of, or it's not going to be that story intense.
Well, that's true.
You just want...
I would just like to see them get more creative than Bowser kids jumping out of a birthday cake. Okay.
Yeah, they definitely, with new Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Galaxy, they've done it. It's done. You do kind of want a bit of a story to it. With Super Mario Sunshine, and again, another reason why I like that game, there was a bit more kind of story to it. It was the basic plot, but there was more story to it. More things kind of happened with Bowser Jr. and all that kind of stuff. So I just want something along that lines of kind of, yeah, it's not a big, deep story, and there's not a lot going on, but there's something going on. That's all I kind of really want there.
They've always teased, if they can't get away from the Koopas, they could always tease the story of, they have done it in Sunshine, who is the Bowser kid's mother?
Oh.
Where is Mrs. Koopa?
Do you think Nintendo could pull that off, though? A Bowser or a Ms. Bowser?
Maybe a really angry Mrs. Bowser with like a rolling pin in her hand or something.
Just beats him all the time.
That would be something different there. You lazy Bowser kids!
That's the interesting thing with Nintendo. They have deviated from the formula and done different stuff, but they never do it in their main series. Like on the DS, you had Super Princess Peach, which was the reverse, but in that same kind of time, you had New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which was just the same. Right. So, well, I just punched the mic as soon as we returned. That's a good sign. But, so, if we move away from the story, what do you want to see in terms of gameplay from a new one? Do you want to see, like, a gimmick kind of return like Sunshine? Would you like to see it be, like, Galaxy, or obviously not 64, but, you know, which one would you like it to be most like?
Ooh, I don't want it to be like anything. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
Whatever it's going to be like, I don't want to be able to say that this game is like anything in Mario. Even if they totally, royally screw up, and I hate it, I want to at least be able to say, well, at least it was original.
Well, do you feel that way with Super Mario 64 then?
Yes. Yes, I do. I didn't really like it, and I don't want to. I want it. I feel that way with 64, but at the same time, I don't want a new game to be that different.
Okay.
With 64, they took too much away from what was Mario, I felt. Sure, they got it 3D, and that was the beginning precedent. It's just I feel like they've done better lately at merging the 3D world that they established in 64 and their 2D games, because they've started to include the question blocks and the blocks and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't totally remove everything that you've learned up to that point away. So you got to keep the main things that are familiar to you about Mario. You still got to be Mario, right? But I want it to be enough different that it's not like what we've already seen.
Well, I think when you look at the 3D Mario games,
that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part is to make it different, but not to lose his identity.
No. Well, when you look at the 3D Mario games, they're interesting because they all come from the console. The ideas all come from what the console they had. The N64, it was 3D, so they wanted to create a 3D kind of world to explore. With the GameCube, they could do more with 3D, and they had learnt some more. And then they kind of realised with the platforming, to make it more precise, they would add in the water feature, so you could hover and things like that. And then they built it from that idea of needing a concrete location, rather than just like a vague world. And then with Galaxy, then they had the Wii pointer and slightly better graphics, so they kind of built the whole idea about that. So I think they're going to do that again. So whatever this new game is going to use that gamepad, and is going to come from the whole idea of having these two screens, or the fact that you can have, you can aim the gamepad. And I think it's going to, come from that.
Well, now that you have these two screens, do you think in any way that this 3D Mario should be based, the main focus of this game, of course, should be based on what all 3D Mario games have been so far, is the single player experience. But do you think there's any way possible, now that you have two screens, they include a two-player simultaneously?
Well, simultaneously. They might, But
With
again,
two
they
screens,
always...
I would see it being more possible. You could explore each 3D world separately, but yet together.
I don't know if they would do that though, because you would then need two separate controllers.
No, you wouldn't. One person plays off the pad, the other plays from a Wiimote like normal off the TV.
See, I can see it kind of They usually don't mess with that with the mainstream Mario games. Surprisingly, they don't really kind of mess with that. You know, Galaxy had that slight co-op, and there was co-op.
Well,
in
yeah,
Super Mario Bros.
that was bullcrap. I would rather somebody not touch the controller because I don't know about your friends, but my friends are dicks, and usually they would just hinder me more than help me by like shooting star bits at me or something stupid like that. So that's not exactly all that helpful. And honestly, even in the Nintendo Land where they had the 2-player games, what annoyed me about those is that they were exclusively 2-player games and they were impossible to play alone, and there's no online capabilities. So whatever you do, it's got to be optional, but at the same time, it can't be exclusive to 2-player either.
Yeah, that's always been their philosophy, Nintendo. They'll have this optional kind of stuff, but it's never really... You don't have to do it. It's not a big feature. They've never focused on multiplayer.
That Nintendo Land was there's those 3 or 4 games that I can't play because I rarely have a guest over. I've played them maybe 2 or 3 times when I've had a guest here, and that's about it. Oh man,
you got to play them. See, I play them with my family, and that Luigi's Mansion one is awesome with 5 people.
I played that twice, and that was probably the most fun.
That is so good, that one.
And the fact is, that's the other thing. I don't care what it is, what kind of a game they make for Mario World. I don't care. There's got to be some kind of online interactive. This is the future now. I don't care how it is or how it works. Just even at the minimum, that Mario Bros. U did not have an online leaderboard just pisses me off. This is the future. We have the internet, people. Okay? How can you not at least... Like, what's the point of points in New Super Mario Bros.? Why do they still hand out points?
Well, that's half of New Super Mario Bros. Right there. Well, that half of it is just tradition.
Screw your goddamn tradition, because the points are pointless. All they had to do was have an online leaderboard, and points mean something again. And you have a whole new way of playing, too, because now you can play the game normally, but then after you can look at how many points you got and compare it to other people around the world, or your region, or your city, or
that was
your friends.
Boost mode, wasn't it?
Huh?
That was boost mode.
Oh, but that's challenges, collecting medals. It's not an online leaderboard. If you had like the actual game where points mattered, I think that would be completely different.
Well, I can see what you're saying, but honestly, I have no interest in that kind of stuff. When I sit down and play a single-player game... I don't think
it's a selling feature. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a replay value feature.
Okay. Well, they definitely... I don't know, they do... I think Nintendo would argue that they have the Miiverse, and that's their online thing for that game.
They would, but I would argue different.
Well, I don't know. I just can't see how you could integrate online stuff to Mario and have it work.
We could get on a whole new topic with the Miiverse thing, too.
Sure.
Because the Miiverse is all fun and stuff, but the fact that they're trying to put it on the internet now, no, not going to work. Sorry, Nintendo. That's not going to work. Nobody's going to... What's the point of having Miiverse on your phone?
I guess the only way it would work if they could integrate into your Twitter feed or something like that.
Well, then I don't need Miiverse. I already have Twitter.
Well, they're not doing that. That's the thing. You can't expect people to be like, this is our social media thing. Because everyone's settled on what social media they like.
And I just don't see why. Like, sure, Miiverse is great while I'm playing on my Wii U and I'm playing the game, but Miiverse is the last thing I'm ever going to think about while I'm walking down the street on my phone or I'm sitting at my laptop watching videos. It's not what I need, and I think that what they should be focusing on, I think they have said it that they're trying to bring it to 3DS. I think.
Yeah, I think it's on the way.
Yeah, so if they can get Miiverse on 3DS, I think that's where their real focus should be, because that kind of social media kind of thing is while you're playing the game. It's not something I would ever think about in my day-to-day life while I'm not playing video games. It's just,
there's no reason to check
I think
it.
that's what they want you to think. They want you to be on your phone. Oh, let's see who's playing Mario U now. Blah blah blah. No. I just don't see that happening. That's what other things, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of crap is for. I just don't think they can push that kind of thing.
Well, it's a work in progress, I think.
It is, but
they'll figure it out, but it'll be too little too late. Nintendo philosophy right there when it comes to online. Too little too late, but... Anyway, so, just one fun thing about the whole new Mario Wii U game. What do you think... what would you want to see in a HD Mario game? Would you like to see, classic kind of stuff recreated in HD? Or would you like to see... something else in HD, because HD's a pretty big deal now for Nintendo anyway. Not for Microsoft, that's 6 years old, but for Nintendo now, we're seeing all these franchises in HD, and it should, lead to a lot of great things, hopefully.
To me, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I just want them to make a fun game, because sure, all this stuff can look great, but at the end of the day, all I want is a fun game to play. I wouldn't care if I'd be just as happy right now if none of this technology had ever advanced and we were still in the 8-bit era, as long as they were still making fun games. And that's really what matters to me. So make a fun game, and it can look as great or as bad as you want it to, as long as it's fun.
Well, I don't want to get back to the argument or the discussion we had with the PS4, but they need to keep progressing to make those fun games, to make innovative games.
If it exists, so take advantage of it but don't make it be, don't make the ability to do it be everything that it is. Don't make that the selling feature. Use what it is to make your product more fun.
Well, you can see where developers have got that wrong, but then again, you can also see where developers have got it right.
Well, yeah, I can definitely see that, because when I see a trailer or a promo for a game, and they basically don't talk about the game or how it's played or show any gameplay action, and all they show is cutscenes and how beautiful a game looks. I go, sure, this game looks great, but the fact that they're not showing me the game itself and they're just showing me cutscenes and how amazing it looks, they're trying to sell me this game on the amazing graphics, which usually equals shit game.
Well, I mean, graphics can be a big part of a game,
it can,
even Starlight, Starlight stuff, and you need that improved technology to be able to achieve the style. Like with the Xbox Live Arcade, there's been a lot of titles where part of the charm has been the stylish graphics, but you needed that extra power to create those graphics.
Oh, for sure.
To make something unique. I don't know. I think this is a very non-argument. It's pretty much, really it does come down to fun games, but you do still need to keep on going. With the Wii U having more horsepower, it means you can, even from a gameplay perspective and it being in HD, that does mean more, and I hope Nintendo makes the most of that for the new Mario.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have to take advantage of it. They just don't have to. Just doesn't have to be. They just don't have to. They can't think it's gonna now it's HD. It's gonna sell itself. That can't be it, right?
Well, Nintendo aren't that company anyway. There are companies who are like that, but Nintendo aren't that company.
I'm hoping that they're not that company. Yes.
Yeah. So pretty much that's kind of the end of the topic. I think we didn't come to any answers, because there are no real answers here. There are no one way they're going to do it.
No, they're not.
They could do it in so many different ways that there is no one way where it's they should definitely do it this way. But my prediction
If there is a correct way to do it, I think we came up with it.
Yeah.
Anything we said is correct.
Yeah, one of those options.
Yes. And
I mean,
one of those options is correct. And anything else they come up with differently is incorrect.
Definitely.
We're right and they're wrong.
Yeah, we're the best. We do it.
Exactly.
We get it done. Everyone else is stupid. Screw those
Exactly.
guys. But my prediction is that it's going to be a HD, more detailed version of Super Mario 3D Land. That's what I can most likely see happening. Or it's going to be that or something completely out of the blue. I think that's what they're actually going to announce, but we have to wait and see, I guess. Well, anyway, with that... Or maybe Retro is making the new one. How about that? Mind's blown.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
If they're going to hand it off to Retro, then I would prefer to go back to what you mentioned before briefly.
Child slavery?
Child slavery is always good.
Yes.
But if Retro's going to do it, then I think Retro should be working more on the side-scrollers and not the 3D one.
Well, that is a discussion for another time, because I'm afraid we're going to have to end of the podcast. So,
it's the end!
It's I can't really go high pitch. My throat is a bit... I can't do it. And I'm a man, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of the end of the podcast. This has been a long one. By far the longest one.
So if you sat through this whole thing, congratulations. Give yourself a big pat on the back.
And Cows is going to give his password account to his YouTube channel, way as a gift.
I am?
I thought we had talked about this. I mean, I thought you were up for this. I didn't realise this made you uncomfortable. I mean...
It does just a little bit, you know.
Oh, shoot. I guess we're just going to have to... No prizes for this week.
No.
Or any other week, so I guess we're good. So, either way, let's get the plugs out there. If you want to go see some great Let's Plays, go over to Cowscrazy's channel. He's currently doing Pokemon Soul Silver Blind, Drawn to Life on the DS, and Majora's Mask, although I think Majora's Mask is coming to an end. I believe so.
Shortly, we're about to enter the final temple, so it's closer to the end than the beginning.
So, with how long the temples are in that game, that's another month for playing it, I guess.
I would say, yeah, it's about another month, honestly.
That makes sense. So, nowhere near the end, but go check it out anyway. So, yeah, so I have to say thank you, Cal, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely been definitely a lot of good discussion, I would say.
Good stuff.
Yeah, all good stuff. So, yeah, so thank you very much for you guys for watching. Don't forget to, subscribe to the podcast, like the podcast, all that good stuff. Leave a comment if you want. You can make love and send videos to Cowscrazy channel. Just video response, just to you making love to the podcast. Just do that, I'm demanding it, I'm afraid.
Make love down by the fire.
Make it beautiful.
Yes.
Make it beautiful. Well, anyway, that's the end of the podcast. So, yeah, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Moo!